Hey there, Make Use Of reader. This is Dave LeClaire with MakeUseOf.com, and today we are here to take a look at the Google Nexus player. Now, Google's Nexus line, you've probably heard of it. They have the Nexus 5, they have their tablets. This is their first foray into the home video market, the set-top box, as it were. So they're out there competing with devices like the Apple TV and the Roku 3, which are two pretty dominant devices that do a lot of things. There's also the Amazon Fire TV, which is another relatively new player using the Android-based operating system. So the question is, does Google's device live up to the competition? The Asus-made device with Google branding on it, can it compete with Amazon? Can it compete with Apple? Can it compete with Roku? Well, that's just what we're going to figure out in this review, so keep watching and make sure to make it all the way to the end, because there we will tell you how you can enter to take home this bad boy for yourself. So as far as the device itself is concerned, from a design perspective, it's not a bad looking device. It's round, so it looks a little out of place with most things on an entertainment center, which tend to be square or rectangular. But it's very small, so you can easily tuck it somewhere where you won't see it if the weird round design aesthetics kind of turn you off, which I could see how they could. You'll also find 3 ports on the back. You'll find your power port, a USB port, and your HDMI port. Obviously HDMI, you just have to hook it up to the TV. You'll also find a remote in the box, which kind of feels a little cheap and plasticky. It's not the best remote you'll ever find. The buttons feel kind of chintzy, but it gets the job done. You'll find your voice control button, buttons for navigating the interface, a play button, a back button, and a button with a circle on it, which takes you back to the home menu from anywhere. It gets the job done, but again, it's not the best feeling remote, and when you see it sitting on your coffee table with your other remotes, it does kind of look a little cheap. But overall, from the outside, it's not a bad looking device, and it gets the job done as far as the aesthetics are concerned. It's black, so it'll blend in nicely with pretty much any entertainment center. I just don't quite understand why they made it look like a giant hockey puck, but again, it's more about the interface and using the device, which is what we're going to take a look at right now. So here we're taking a look at the actual interface of the Nexus player, which is using Android TV. And as you can see, it's actually quite nice looking. There's 4 rows, it's easy to navigate. You can quickly jump down to the bottom row, you get to your settings, you can see the recent things that you've watched, you can see your games and your apps. It's all right there in front of you with a bunch of big, pretty cards, so everything's very vibrant. And overall, it's definitely not a bad interface. It's basic and it's simple and it gets the job done. Compared to most of the other players on the market, the interface is actually quite good and quite easy to navigate. So as far as that's concerned, Google did a great job on this. Unfortunately, it's not all positive as far as that goes, because there's some glaring applications that are missing. So if you're buying this device as a media player, which is the main reason to buy it, because as we will get to, it is not a gaming console. In spite of it having a game controller, this is not going to compete with your Xbox or anything like that. But we'll get to that in a bit. But you'll see things like HBO Go and Amazon Prime are not on the device. Now those are huge omissions if you intend to buy this as your primary device that you're going to use to consume all of your entertainment through. If 2 of the main services are not on there, that's a pretty big issue, and it's one that definitely holds the Nexus player back from being the #1 device on the market. Fortunately, Google has found a way to make up for its lack of apps, and that is with Google Cast functionality, which works exactly like a Chromecast. So you go to your computer or you go to your phone, you click a button in the app that you want to watch, and boom, you can send it to there and you can still watch it. So you can still get HBO Go this way, you can still get a bunch of other services, you can just cast a general web tab over to it. It's not a complete pass because some users may not want to have to use a second device. They may not want to have to use their computer. They may not want to have to use their phone. So it's not a complete pass, but it does help fill in the gaps to watch some of the apps that you couldn't get to without having the cast functionality. And it works quite well. So now it's time to take a look at this device as a gaming console, because it does offer access to Google Play with a bunch of games that are made to play with this controller, which is available for $40 extra. It doesn't come with the console out of the box. There are some games that you can play with the standard remote, but those are a bunch of kind of basic games. They're not anything to write home about. But unfortunately, neither are the games that you can play with this. They're basically games like Modern Combat from Gameloft, which is a first-person shooter that feels sluggish and not quite good. The controller itself has kind of a cheap feeling D-pad. The joysticks feel a little too floaty and kind of weird, and just the triggers feel squishy. It's not a good controller. If you're buying this device to play games on, I would definitely recommend you don't. Maybe go get a used Xbox 360 for like 150 bucks. It'll cost you about the same price. You'll get much better games. You can still get the entertainment apps on it. It's just not a great way to play video games. Android games being upported to the TV, they just can't compete with games that you'll find on normal consoles. It's nice to have as an afterthought if you want to maybe play some games with your kids or you just want something you can play for a distraction for a few minutes. But if you're thinking of buying this as a game console first, think again. One last feature that makes this device pretty cool is the voice search. You hit a button on the remote, you speak into it, and you tell it what you want. So you could say, show me movies starring Kurt Russell, and it would show you movies starring Kurt Russell. It's a cool feature, but it only searches Google Play. So that means if something is available free on Netflix with your subscription, you won't see that. You'll only see the for pay option on Google Play, which definitely limits this. If you are super invested into the Google Play system and you already use it to rent most of your movies and buy most of your movies, you'll probably love this feature. But if you use Netflix and Hulu Plus and an array of other subscriptions to watch things, the voice search feature is very limiting. But it is very accurate and it does work 99% of the time, which is always a good thing. So now we come to the big question. Should you buy the Nexus player? No, you probably shouldn't. There's better devices on the market that have a wider range of apps. If you're invested in the Apple ecosystem, you can get the Apple TV, which has all the apps you could want on it, as well as the ability to do AirPlay, which works much like the Cast feature. If you just want every app available under the sun, you can get the Roku 3. Costs the same price and it has pretty much everything you could ever want while being more open. Sure, it lacks games, but let's be honest, gaming on this thing is not very good anyway. So you should probably skip this one unless you are heavily invested into the Google Play already, and you own a ton of apps and you already bought a ton of movies on it and you intend to keep buying movies on it. Then the Nexus player will do the job for you, but otherwise you should probably look elsewhere. However, you could still win this from Make Use Of for free, and for free, who can complain, right? So head on over to the site and enter for your chance to win. Once again, this has been Dave LeClaire, and we will see you guys next time.